Welcome to Banished TV. This is Tebow, and with
I'm
me,
Morvox.
Thank you for joining us as always, man. Today we are going to be watching a ZVT game. In the top left, can you go ahead and introduce them for me?
In the top left, we have the red Zerg player. It's Axiom's Impact.
Impact, okay, great. What are you expecting to see out of him this game?
Axiom Impact actually really likes his lings. He's a heavy ling player. If you didn't already know, Impact was actually the GoPro player from the Jaedong documentary who decided that he wanted to become a pro player, and he was actually surrounded around his life and Jaedong's life at the same time. So to see him doing so well in the tournament circuit is really cool.
That is amazing. That is truly amazing. In the bottom right, to introduce him, this is going to be Marinelord. Now, I'm not familiar with him at all, but just based on the results of this game, we're going to see, what kind of plays he's going to make here. Obviously, with his name being Marinelord, I'm going to assume some Marine plays are going to show up. Is that safe to assume?
Yeah, Marinelord definitely likes his Marines, but I would also be safe to assume that he also likes his Reapers.
Reapers.
So, Reapers are a good unit.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and take a look at this game. I'm going to go ahead and start it up here. We're going to go and look at everybody's production tab, and here we go. Okay, so now this is King Sejong Station. I absolutely love this map for Zerg this season, even though I know a lot of Zergs aren't liking it. How do you feel about it as a ZVT?
Kim Sejong Station is really kind of it's kind of an imbalanced map towards if you're not Zerg. It's really good for Mutalisks. Besides that, it's really bad for Terran.
Yeah, that's interesting you say that. Clearly, like I said, I personally favor this as the Zerg, but a lot of Zerg people I know actually don't like this map. I don't know if a lot of people don't know how to utilize it correctly, but you're completely correct. Mutas can completely abuse you. Your entire map is basically jump worthy. Now, where's this SCV going here?
Looks like this SCV is scouting towards Axiom Impact's base. He looks like he's about to put down a barracks.
That's
it looks
a barracks.
like a proxy barracks. He's probably going to end up doing some type of proxy Reaper play.
Yeah, with seeing this gas go down right with it, I can only assume some kind of Reapers are going on. Let's look at how Axiom's dealing with this. Nothing out of the ordinary here. Now, if he sees it, he does see it go in. That's very important. This is clearly just knowledge of the game here. Lower level people wouldn't even know to send an Overlord to scout for something like this. So he's dealt with it on this map before, I would assume.
Yeah, he sees it coming, and he's now preparing his build to basically react to the oncoming Reaper pressure that's about to come at his front door. It looks like he's throwing down a gas at his base. Maybe he'll decide to go for Banelings.
Banelings are definitely possible. I don't think any Zerg player can doubt that a Baneling nest is almost a necessity against Terran, especially if you don't know what they're going. So in this case, I could definitely see him throwing down a Baneling nest, though I'd probably see Zerg speed researched first with his first 100 gas. So we'll see what he throws down.
It looks like one Reaper is about to pop out. He's probably going to come right into the main base of the Zerg player with the SCV. Kind of use him as a buffer as he focuses down drones. It looks like the SCV is getting up close and personal. He pulls away his drones, and now the Lings are popping out to deal with the Reaper.
Yeah, the Lings are popping, but they're not really going... it looks like he's going to send him to scout more than anything. He's got two at home fighting for him.
So it looks like the SCV did go down. The Reaper is scouting back, fighting back against the Lings. He's actually getting really good engagement, taking on a lot of these Lings, and really forcing Axiom Impact to build a bunch of extra Lings that he wanted to build into drones.
Yeah, that's true. That's completely true, but I think he's pretty much going to be on his way out with these Reapers. I don't really know how much more he's going to be able to do once you have a Queen on the field. And also, once again, he does have speed researching. That's what he's doing with his +1 gas. Now, I mentioned this in a previous video. Zerg will almost never leave 3-3 on their gas unless they're doing something aggressive with it. So we can assume he's not really going to do Banelings, at least not early on. Now, over here, you did see that he threw some Lings down here. I believe it was only 2 or 3. It didn't really do any damage, just basically to poke around, kind of get him off of his game here.
It looks like the Reapers are coming back to the main base. As Zergling speed is about to complete, you really don't want to keep those Reapers on the map any longer than that, as you risk getting them surrounded by speedlings.
Yeah, now as you see here, Marinelord is actually, he doesn't know that the expansion is going. He's actually going to try to block it here with this barracks. That's an interesting move. Very, very out of the ordinary.
Definitely. Using that building to drop down and block the natural expansion would have been a crafty way to prevent him from expanding. But of course, Axiom Impact knows that he needs to expand earlier as to not fall behind the Terran player and let him beat him with more units and more workers and higher economy.
Yeah, definitely the scary thing about Terran is once they get that higher economy and they get that higher production, you almost can't keep up with them. They're going to walk over to you and your units are going to be walking into a grindhouse.
Definitely. You always want to exchange your units with the Terran player at higher efficiency. If possible, if you could remax, that would be great, but as of right now, Axiom Impact only has one extra hatchery, so Larva right now is not at a high point where he can exchange at that level.
Yeah, the Reapers, I think, did delay him a little bit. As you were saying earlier, you know, missed drones are the most important thing. It's not the fact that he spent 50 minerals building a Ling, it's the fact that he used one of his larvae on the Ling instead of a drone. Those are important things to factor in when you go into the mid-game.
So it looks like some roaches are popping out for Axiom Impact. He's probably going to send them across the map, poke around, look at what Marinelord has, and just try to gauge at how greedy Marinelord is playing. He does have an upper base, CC, just completing, being warped into now a, I've forgotten what they are called. They are called a...
Orbital Command.
Orbital Command, that's right. I'm not a Terran player, I'm a Protoss player. But now the supply depots are up, and now the Zerglings are being funneled into the Hellions and killed by the Reapers.
Yeah, that was
Roaches
a really good play.
Too.
Now, I don't think he's going to be able to push this. I mean, there's a couple roaches here. Roaches do well against head, but not in that funnel. He's not going to want to fight into that funnel.
He lands his Viking and starts shooting at the roaches as the roaches focus down the supply depot. The Hellions come up front to try to soak up some of the damage, and the Reaper also tries to get a few pot shots. But
now he's sending Lings in here. He's thinking he got in, but he's not getting into anything he wants to.
It's a terrible engagement. The roaches and Lings kind of form a funnel, and the fire from the Hellions just melts them, and now all of a sudden Marinelord finds himself in a position where he could send Cloaked Banshees and do a lot of damage.
Yeah, that's definitely... I see him researching Cloak and researching Banshee up here. Now, one thing to note is he was supply boxed, so that supply, you know, that supply depot that got knocked down did put him a little bit behind, but otherwise, I'm really liking where Marinelord's at right now.
Yeah, I'm really liking Marinelord's position. He's sending his Banshees across the map, just now taking his natural expansion. I don't foresee him falling that much farther behind than an Impact is right now on his economy. I foresee these Banshees doing a lot of damage. There's not even a single spore crawling on the map.
I believe you're correct in that. Yeah, I don't see a spore there. I see no spores there. No kind of overseer whatsoever. This layer it's mutating, so the layer's on the way. That's good. He's telling him he's going to try to come in, don't really get to do it too much. Now here's the important thing. There it is, the Banshee. He's seen the Banshee. He's reacted correctly, put the spores down. He's going to get the Queens over here to help out.
It looks like a bunch of drones are going to go down. It looks like 8 in total have gone down from Marinelord. Marinelord killing lots of drones with his Banshees. It looks like he's coming around the side, and he's going to try to meet the roaches, but he doesn't want to engage in the roaches with that army.
No, definitely not. Now, right here, cloaking field just about finished. And it's finished up right there. Looks like he's going to come into the main.
Sending the Banshees into the main base. It looks like Axiom's Impact has found the Bears on the right-hand side. He lifts it up. He'll probably end up using it for scouting, or he may just send it back home.
Oh, now we got our Banshee coming in here to cause trouble. Once again, this is just shooting at drones for free, basically.
It looks like the total amount of drones that have gone down is now sitting at a healthy 14 drones. Marinelord is posing himself to put himself in a huge lead. I just don't see how Impact's going to be able to get himself back into the game.
Yeah, honestly, now, the one thing that we can see here is he is trying to take a third, which is good. But I'm not really seeing very much things that he can do. Now, obviously, he doesn't have the money or the bank to trade and then resupply, remax out on his army. He can't do it. And these roaches can't fight under Banshee fire for very long.
No, he cloaks the Banshees and focus downs the Queen. The Hellions come from the side, try to get a couple pot shots on the Queen, but the Roaches have to retreat. They can't really fight into Banshees like that.
Are we going to see a cancel? No cancel on that hatchery. That's 300 minerals lost right there. You don't want to see that happening this late into the game. If you look at Axe Impact, he does not have a very big bank. 300 minerals could have been a very hefty reinforcement.
The Hellions are coming into the natural expansion with the Banshees, trying to focus down drones and Queens. The Mutalisks are just now popping out, but can he get a good engagement, take out the Banshees without him losing too much damage, too many workers?
I'm not sure yet. At this point, he is pretty far behind. Should he even be moving these Roaches up? I don't know if that's the correct thing to do either.
It looks like he's sending the Mutalisks across the map. He's going to try to hit the natural expansion of Marinelord, but he decides to pull them back. Looks like he's going to pull them up.
Yeah, this is a pretty strong Mutas here. Now, obviously, he's not going to go down without a fight. He's going to try to push him with these Hellions, and he's going to come in here and try to base trade with the Mutas. So,
and that's not that really that many Mutas. There's Thors still being built, and really all it takes is 2 or 3 Thors to really deal with that many Mutas.
Those
the
Hellions
just sweeping around to hit the natural expansion, and now the Mutas are heading into the main base.
Yeah, Mutas are headed in the main base, but these Hellions, I think they're causing too much damage at home.
So many drones getting roasted, so many SCVs being murdered by Mutalisks. The turrets are trying to come up. It's just been a worker graveyard.
Oh yeah, this is too much of a loss for Zerg here. He's not going to be able to fight into this. Let's look at total on his bases, what kind of saturation he has. I see.
Looks like we have 33 SCVs and 27 to 28 now drones. It definitely is not favoring Axiom Impact all that much, considering there are mules from Marinelord, and there are Thors now on the map to deal with the Mutalisks.
Yeah, the mules are an important factor, because just look at this income. I mean, sure, he's got one base satch here. He's got another base here, no saturation on that. And about half satch on this base right here, not getting any of the gas. This is crippling. I'm not sure how you're going to get back in the game after something like that happens, because, like you were saying, these mules, these are pumping as much money as he needs right now.
So the Zerg's trying to keep his third base alive. He's moving the Mutalisks around the map, just trying to determine if whether or not he can keep the base up. He's going to have to transfer drones soon so that he can start mining from that third. Otherwise, Marinelord is in a hefty lead.
Yeah, definitely. As you can see, +1 upgrade going for the Zerg right now. This is kind of late to be trying to get a +1 upgrade 15 minutes into the game. Now, I'm not sure, do you know if he has any armor upgrade, possibly?
I don't think he does. Let's see if we can find one of his mutants on the field. And
no, he doesn't have a +1 armor or a +1 attack upgrade. That's probably not the best thing for him.
Looks like something's going down on the top right. Looks like Mutalisks may be taking down the barracks. Nothing of use there. That barracks has been pretty much useless the entire game.
Yeah, it's gotten him some scouting. It helped with that Reaper early on, but he clearly made it known that he wasn't really trying to save that in any way. Otherwise, Mules, once again, just pumping out for him here.
Excellent. The third base is being transferred now to the third of Marinelord, and Marinelord now looks to be in quite a lead. The Mutalisks are coming across the side of the map, but there's not really that many of them. Really, we're looking at only 5 Mutalisks. I just don't see how that's going to be able to do the damage with Thors on the map.
Yeah, it's really not. See, when you look in the top here, it might almost seem deceiving. When you look and you go, wow, no, the Zerg is up by almost, 15 supply. You're going on possibly 20 if you really wanted to. But in the end, Mutas, Lings, and Roaches are not cost-efficient units. They're not going to match Thors and Siege Tanks and Hellbats when it comes to trading. It's just not going to happen.
Definitely not. Now, especially since the Hellbats have gotten a buff. The Hellbats are being produced along with Siege Tanks, and it looks like +1 for vehicle weapons is almost about to complete. Turrets are also getting built just in case the Mutas try to sweep into the natural expansion just now where they were just now pushed away.
Yeah, those missile turrets are definitely going to help out, keep the Mutas at bay. They can't really go in there without taking casualties, which is not what you want to do when you're building your Mutas.
Definitely.
Now he's got these Roaches over here, but I think honestly, if we go ahead and look, yeah. The problem is he just doesn't really realize how much stuff he has. He doesn't know there's a third down here to even worry about it. He thinks right now he's just kind of a 2 base. I think this is the real reason why Zerg is still in the game.
Definitely Impact. He's just not got really a lot going for him right now. He continues to drone up and get his upgrades, but the composition is just not there to deal with the mech army from Terran.
No, yeah. The mutas try to poke in, they realize not much is going to be done. There's no roaches really being built. I mean, just look at our production up here. We're not having any offensive units being built whatsoever.
Looks like a couple of spines are being thrown down at the 4th base. And having 4 bases as a Zerg is definitely an improvement, but is it too late?
Yeah, I would definitely say it's too late. Let's look at the supply now. 137 to 162. That was a nice little hefty leap. We see a bunch of roaches being built, but what is this? It looks like he's actually going to base trade.
Looks like he's going for a roach counterattack. He's going to take out a couple of these tanks for free, and he's going to walk right into the 3rd base and focus down all these SCVs. And at the same time, he's going to take down the rocks at the natural expansion.
Yeah, that's very important. Now, you're noticing here, Terran seems pretty confident about this. He's willing to base trade. That's almost scary.
The roaches are moving in as the Thors are crushing down into Axiom Impact's natural expansion. Now suddenly the roaches move in and they're being shredded alive by the tanks and the Hellbats. They're getting murdered. All of a sudden now Axiom Impact is dropping supply, and now the Terran finds himself destroying the natural expansion of the Zerg player.
Yeah, that definitely did not go in the Zerg's favor.
Not at all. And now the Terran player is posturing himself to take the win, and now he's just going to march up into the base and take the game.
Yeah, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised to see a GG go down at any moment. Realistically, this is the Terran's game to lose. There's not really much that... Yeah, there's the GG. It's all over. That was honestly a very, very good game. I definitely liked how it went. What do you feel was the biggest loss or the biggest moment where the Zerg lost it for himself?
I feel like just not being able to get his economy rolling as fast as he wanted to and being delayed by the Reapers early game really put him behind. And ever since he got behind there, he just wasn't able to catch up, and Marinelord really capitalized on that, especially getting such a high and strong and efficient mech army.
Yeah, I believe probably the worst thing about this game was the bad engagements on the Zerg part. I know at one time we seen up here in this top area right here, we seen that funnel happen where the roaches tried to push in after destroying that supply depot, and they just got torn to shreds. There was basically no reason he should have even been trying to get up the ramp at that time.
Definitely not. It was a poor engagement on Impact's end. It was well played by him, but just overall, Marinelord got the army composition and just walked over Impact. There was nothing he could do. Completely.
After that, it was really good trying to base trade him while he realized, these Thors were running across the map with these siege tanks. I think his better bet would have probably been to try to catch him out of place, because he came up in here and just got tore up.
Definitely. I feel like it probably would have been a better idea to just stop making Mutalisks and translation into maybe Ultralisks. But at that point, Impact was struggling to get a 4th base, so I don't even know if that was even a dream for him at that point.
Yeah, and I don't know what kind of player Axe Impact is. I honestly haven't really seen too many of his games, but Swarmhost could have been useful in this game depending on how he used them. I know people like some Stefano or big Swarmhost players could make some big stuff happen against mech.
Definitely, Swarmhost can be used very, very well against mech, but a lot of players don't really like Swarmhost at how stagnant the game has become using them. But they definitely can be used to trade with mech and to slow down mech in order to get you time to build the composition used to destroy it.
Oh yeah, I like the way you bring that up. It's definitely about doing one of two things. It's about utilizing your time to either keep them where they're at so that you can maximize your time at home building your army or your economy or whatever it is that you want, or you could use it offensively to crack down a defense such as cannons or bunkers.
Exactly. Swarmhosts can be utilized so many different ways, but as of right now, a lot of people have been seeing them in a negative light where they're being used defensively with mass static defense. I really feel like players like Stefano, who use Swarmhosts in a new light, in a different way, can change the meta and make the game more exciting again. But I do agree that the Swarmhost does need to be looked at in terms of balance.
Yeah, for sure. Now, the Swarmhost, like I was saying, that's just one of his options to kind of throw the game off. Realistically, he was not trading efficiently. That is pretty much, I would say, is the statement that we could make that lost the Zerg the game. He did not trade efficiently. A lot of people struggle trading efficiently against Terran mech armies. which is completely understandable. They zone you out.
Definitely.
If I know you and me are not the greatest players, we're not master level players as we're seeing here, but we do have something called hindsight. We're watching a replay and we can analyze where the mistakes were made or possible advantages could have been gained. Do you think there's anything he could have done with his units in this game that would have been better to better utilize them to stop the Terran push?
Base is under attack.
Maybe if he would have gotten infestors or something that could have slowed down the mech push. The units he had were just not the correct composition.
I mean, he was almost completely tier 1 units, nothing but roaches and zerglings and queens. There's no way that you can hold off a push of that caliber. I don't believe there's any way to stop a mech push with tier 1 units.
I just don't foresee it happening. At this point, Axiom Impact was so far behind because of the Reaper pressure that Marinelord pretty much had a free win. As soon as he scans here and basically sees that there's nothing there, and he realizes that he may be behind in as far as workers go, possibly, but that just having a better composition overall is going to win him the game.
Yeah, you can pretty much watch the supply of these two players the whole game and realize who's going to win pretty early on. Overall, though, great game by both players. I mean, honestly, this is one of those things where these people can play much better than I can personally. But there's these small things that anyone can improve on. They can definitely tighten up your game, and this is the small little things that can lose it for you. We're definitely seeing where, hey, if I throw my lings into this early game 3 minutes in and I lose them, I could be losing the whole game from it 20 minutes from now.
It's always a battle of minuscule proportions. The smallest mistake could set a fire upon your base. You could lose everything just making the tiniest mistake. It definitely shows in this game, Marinelord versus Axiom's Impact. I feel like Mech, at this point, without Swarm Host, he was just destined to die.
Yeah, Mech, very, very strong currently. Very strong currently. At this point, is there anything else you'd like to say about the game? Anything you think new players could learn by watching it or should study?
Other than if you're going to stop Mech, you should really stop it before it leaves his base. You should try to use Swarm Host in an offensive manner and try to slow him down until you find out what really his weakness is and try to pull him apart with maybe Broodlords or Mutalisks while using Swarm Host.
That's a very good point. To kind of talk to my fellow Zergs, I know a lot of us play the very reactionary games where we kind of wait to see what our opponents are doing and then try to react accordingly. This is one of those games where obviously the mechanics were down, but the reactions were wrong. He's seen what was happening, but he did not build the correct units to counter it. I believe if he was to have maybe some strong Infestor, Hydra, maybe even the Vipers, he could have turned this around. Vipers can pick off, Thors coming across the map. He can directly engage into it at that point. He just did not build the correct units to fight it. That's all. That's plain and simple.
Exactly. It was mostly a build order loss, but he really tried to work with what he had. He tried to do some counterattacks with the roaches, but just the composition that Marinelord had, it was just not trading effectively, and he just died at the end.
Yeah, a good game by both players. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. If you want, have any questions, have any comments, anything we can learn from, please just get a hold of us. Our contact details will be provided with the video. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, other than that, you guys have a great day.
Thanks for joining us. Once again, this is Team Banished TV.